Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 2680 of What Chapter Now. Documenting the journey, sharing lessons learned. Originally, as I came to the online world from the brick and mortar corporate world of businesses, I was looking to do something different, and the internet was very different than anything I'd ever done. And so it was an industry I was curious about, and I thought, I'm going to check it out and get involved in it and see what happens. And that led me down a whole lot of different rabbit holes, a whole lot of different trails, a whole lot of lessons learned. And so I like to share them and document my process in this segment. Well, today we're talking about step 7 of the IDEANCE process, IDEANCE. It's a process we came up with as part of this year's annual challenge, the Be a Better You annual challenge, to apply to the different life framework areas that we discuss. We discuss and we focus in on one area each month for 9 months of the year. It's been about 3 years now I've used this structure or this framework for sharing online, which is part of what step 7 is all about. It's the step to educate. It's to teach what we've learned to somebody else, anybody else. And you can do it in a little way or you can do it in a big way. I share a lot of things with my granddaughters. They're 2 and 4. How much of it do they really understand or retain? But I realized a long time ago that it's not about how much they retain as much as how much I gain by sharing that information. Have you ever noticed what you give, you receive back? The more you give away, the more you receive back in different ways, shape, or form. That's the way the universe works, right? I didn't make this up. It's a universal law. We have to give what we want to receive. And so teaching and educating other people and sharing the lessons that we learned is one of the fastest, easiest, best ways to get that reciprocity, right? And to reinforce and gain more synapses in our brain and more understanding and better understanding of the things that we're sharing. And I say share the positive things, not negative things, right? Because if we share negative things, we get negative things back. So let's share positive things. So anything we learn that helps us grow is sharing positively, in my opinion. So we're talking about that today, and of course I share what I learn in videos, right? That's just my way of doing it. So that's kind of my automatic answer. But I also share with my granddaughters. I share with my daughter. I share with my son. I share with my son-in-law. I share with my everybody and anybody, my sisters, anybody that will listen, different things that I've learned that are appropriate to the conversation or the topic that we're talking about. And of course, every day, once a month, I share this 7-step process that is our process for this year to grow and personally develop. Because that's kind of my underlying foundational thing is I always want to be becoming a better version of me, because I can't become a better version of anyone else. I can only fix me and be a better version of me. And I want to set that example for everybody else, right? If I can be me, that gives other people permission to be themselves as well. No matter how wacky doodle or crazy or off the wall or different we are, that's what we need to do, is embrace our differences and know that we're all okay and we all have a right to exist and be who we are, as long as that doesn't hurt or harm other people. I'm going to always add that caveat, because some people think that they can just do whatever they want, and that is like anti-human, anti-social behavior, not normal, right? A little mentally sick. You know, if you think you can commit fraud, crimes, you know, wrong, right? You can't create crimes against humanity and expect to live an awesome life. Or I guess sometimes people will live a good life, but guess what? We all have to answer for it in the end, because we're all going to die someday. All right, off topic. So, what have you learned so far, and who can you share it with? How do you share? How do you share the things that you learn? Or do you just hoard all the information? I remember back when I was younger, early on, we weren't really taught to share the things that we learned. We were taught to learn and grow and perform and be the best we could be and learn all these skills. But then you go to corporate America. This was a corporate America thing culturally when I was in corporate America. You would keep your information and your knowledge kind of secret. I never did that. I taught my folks everything so that they could replace me so I could go on and do something else. But most people in corporate America hoard information as if nobody else can find it out. Guess what? In this day and age with the internet, those days are long gone. And if you haven't embraced contributing in ways that don't include hoarding information, you're in deep trouble, because an AI can probably replace any information that you have now. And what makes you special and unique is your humanity, not your access to information or your knowledge of a skill or thing that nobody else can do. Because somebody else can always do anything. We all think we're replaceable, but as human beings, we are irreplaceable. But as individual roles that we play in jobs or in businesses, even in our own businesses, guess what? We are replaceable. I know our ego freaks out when we hear that, but it's absolutely true. So go out, make it an awesome day. This is our last day focusing on the financial area and aspect of our life. So hopefully you've used the IDEANCE process to set your framework for what you're doing moving forward so you can achieve your goal or overcome your challenge that you've worked on through the last 7 days, the last week, by the end of the year. And we'll revisit this. Guess what? November and December are all about November. I think I'm going to do No Nonsense November again. I haven't decided 100%, but the last 3 years I've done it. I really like it. So it lets me bring in the biggest lessons learned from the group and from me and from other areas and aspects of my life to share with other people, which is a version of sharing and reinforcing those learnings for myself. I know, sounds kind of selfish, right? You think that when you give, it's selfish, but it's really not. It's the intent behind the giving, right? If you give and do something nice and you have to brag about it to everybody, are you giving with the intention of helping other people without the accolades, or are you doing it with the accolades? To me, that's kind of the distinction and the difference. A lot of people will do something nice and then they brag about it on social media. Really? It gives me that icky feeling whenever I hear that, because I'm like, you're supposed to be a good human being and do good things and good works without having to brag about them. Now, if somebody else shares your story, that's different than if you share your story. I mean, look at all the amazing things people like Elon Musk have done, and he's not out bragging about it. Other people are reporting it on social media, not him. So there's a difference to me personally, and it doesn't matter. Some people don't think of it as bragging. Some people think of it as another way, and good for them. But that's just my personal opinion, which, since this is my post and my podcast, I get to share my personal opinion. Amazing. And guess what? You can do it too if you want to. All right. Have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye. Sharing my opinion.